Hey, this is Alexandra, your friendly astrologer at Plutonia Intuitive, and today I'm going to be talking about the sun squaring the moon in the composite chart. Composite chart is the chart of your relationship, so you take the midpoints between two birth charts, smash them together, and that is the composite chart. It's a bit more concrete than a synastry chart, and synastry is a bit easier to work with, but composite, you'll notice the themes in the chart tend to carry on throughout the duration of the relationship. So if you're looking at the sun, that is the energy of the relationship. It's like the battery. So it can actually give a lot of clues as to why the two people are together. And then the moon is more about the emotional signature of the relationship. So it shows either the comfort and nurturing that you both experience, or it can show, if it's negatively aspected, the pain or neglect in the relationship. So if you take the sun and the moon and they square in the composite, what ends up happening with this one is you actually get a lot of unrest. It's a very, very stimulating aspect, and it can actually cause both people in the relationship to feel emotionally triggered in a good or a bad sense. It kind of depends on who you are, the way that you're going to experience this one. So conflict in composite and in synastry, it actually causes a lot of attraction, and the attraction from this one comes from the fact that you have two people that are fundamentally very, very different from each other and experience the world in a completely separate way. So it's actually a really amazing teacher because you can kind of get a broader perspective on certain topics and humanity as a whole through the other person's different personality. And it's really good to be shaken out of our emotional biases every once in a while. But what can end up happening with this one is you can kind of have a sense of blocked emotional empathy. It's good to look at how tight the square is, the degrees of the square, when you're looking at that sort of aspect. But what ends up happening is if you're feeling that blocked emotional empathy, it's not that the two people are doing it to each other on purpose. It actually comes from both of your tunnel vision on certain topics. If you want to have harmony in this relationship, each person needs to approach the other with a lot of maturity and a bit of tactfulness. It's really important that if you want to be happy, again, with this aspect, you have to figuratively put yourself in the other person's shoes. The sun squaring the moon in composite is actually quite binding. It's not as binding as certain Saturn aspects, but what it does is it causes a lot of focus, attention, and thought about the other person and the relationship. And I've personally experienced this one with quite a few of my friends, actually, and in one past romantic relationship. And as an example, if I'm expressing my feelings on something that is very emotionally charged for me, what ends up happening is the other person gets offended by it, or vice versa, right? And what you have to do is you kind of have to take a step back and explain why you're feeling the way that you're feeling so that the other person can kind of immerse yourself in your perspective, right? And it can actually make for some pretty spicy debates, which I really enjoy in my friendships, but in romantic relationships, it does add a lot of stress for me personally. So in romantic relationships, this one can be challenging, but it really depends on who is involved in the relationship. So if you are somebody that is highly sensitive, or you tend to avoid conflict, or you are easily overstimulated emotionally, you're not gonna like this, I have to be honest, and you're probably gonna end up sitting there longing for some sort of feeling of peace in the relationship. So this one really depends on the personalities of the two people that are involved. If you're someone that actually enjoys a bit of conflict and debate, then this aspect may not be much of an issue for you. But even with that, it's really important that both people are really respectful and mature and realistic about their fundamental differences. So sometimes if you can just take some space and some rest from each other, that can be a really good strategy to kind of handle this one. And if you love each other enough and you value the union enough, you can absolutely work through this one. But it is quite challenging, especially when you're in a committed partnership. So that's my take on Sun Square Moon in Composite. I am available for relationship readings and natal chart readings. You can find all my social media links down below the video. And I will be back at you soon with more synastry, composite, astrology, woo-woo videos. So yeah, have a great day and I'll talk to you soon.